Good morning, everybody, and welcome to episode 97 of the Ask the Coach show, where PingSkills answers your table tennis questions. And I don't have my overlay up. How silly. There you go. Now we're looking good. 97, Ask the Coach show. Today, we discuss modifying your grip for serving, how to help Eduardo become a two-wing looper, and how to get topspin on your forehand to make it more consistent. As always, Super Coach Alois Rosario is here with me to answer your questions. Welcome, Alois.
Morning, Jeff. And show 97, getting close to the ton.
Yes, close to 100. It's very exciting, isn't it? And you know, we're going to have a big competition that we're going to announce a winner on our 100th show. Alois, what are we going to do for this competition?
Yeah, so we're thinking that there's something to do with the comments on our questions on our blogs. What do you think, Jeff?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Yesterday's PingSkills question of the day, Alois, was what suggestions do you have to make the Ask the Coach show even better? So what we want is your answer to that PingSkills question of the day. So go to our website and find the blog that shows episode 96. You're going to have to leave a comment on that show there, Alois. And you, Alois, can decide the best comment and award the winner a prize.
Can I also enter?
No.
Right. Okay.
You have to just be constantly thinking of ways to make the show better anyway.
Okay. No worries. Thank you.
And we're going to have a great prize, Alois?
Yeah, so I think a yearly membership to the premium membership of PingSkills for the winner. So, so do I get to decide? That's good. All right.
Yes, you do. And if you're already a premium member, we'll extend your membership for another year for free. So hopefully that's a good prize.
Maybe something along the lines. Maybe there's something along the lines of less airtime for Jeff, more airtime for me.
Who knows? Maybe more airtime for you because when we play in a match, I beat you all the time. So to make you feel better, a bit more airtime, that could work. Yeah, just let us know. So I'll put a link in the show notes to this blog, but you'll find it on the blog anyway. Episode 96 is where you have to go and leave a comment to let us know how to improve this show. Looking forward to your responses, and you have to do it before the 100th show because we're going to announce the winner on the 100th show. All right, Alois. Now, there has been some interesting table tennis played recently.
Yes, yeah. So the Asian Cup just concluded. So the Asian Cup is also a qualification tournament for the World Cup. And interesting result with Feng Tianwei from Singapore beating the two Chinese women in the field. So she beat Liu Wen in the final and she won 4-2 and also beat Zhu Yuling in the group stage as well. So a huge win for Feng Tianwei. And I think it's the first time that a non-Chinese player has won the Women's Asian Cup for, I think, maybe the last 8 or something like that. So, so a huge result for Feng Tianwei. And I know she was pretty excited about the win afterwards.
Yeah, very exciting. I mean, we got to see her, Alois, when we commented on the Australian Open, and she is an incredible player.
Yeah, she is good. And I also saw her when she played in the World Championships when Singapore beat China as well. So, so she's had a little bit of experience under her belt. But, just a good player. But, a really interesting result, especially coming up to the Worlds, not that far away, probably only about six weeks or so away. For her to have a big result like that will be a really big confidence boost for her.
Indeed, yes.
And in the men's, probably no big surprises in the end, but Zhu Xin beat Fan Zhendong in the final. It was 4-3, but Fan Zhendong was up 3-1. And after the match, Zhu Xin, said he you won the first game and he sort of felt pretty comfortable and probably just relaxed a little bit too much. And Fan Zhendong just, reeled off the next 3 games. But Zhu Xin was saying, he didn't really panic. He just sort of thought about how he was going to get on top again and closed out the match 4-3. So good win for him. But both the finalists and the third place getter all qualify for the World Cup. So, so both of them go through safely. But again, a good confidence boost for Zhu Xin coming into the World Championships. We've talked about Fan Zhendong and, the threat that he probably poses to those top few players being so young.
Yes, it's certainly setting up for an interesting Worlds. So we'll obviously be discussing that as it gets closer and closer and when it's on. Yeah, very exciting time for table tennis. All right, Alois. As we mentioned, yesterday's PingSkills question of the day was, what suggestions do you have to make the show better? So go to that blog, put some more suggestions down there, and we will decide a winner on our 100th show. And now the PingSkills question of today is, what is the most important stroke in table tennis? So we'd love to hear your thoughts. Let us know. What is the most important stroke in table tennis? All right, Alois, time to get on to the questions. First one is from Andre. And Andre says, when doing your modified grip for serving, my bat always seems to slip a tiny bit from my thumb and index finger. Should I keep working on that modified grip, or are there others that don't need as much of a force to keep stable?
Yeah, so what he's talking about is, so when we do the pendulum grip in particular, instead of having the normal grip where you've got thumb on one side, pointer finger on the other, and then 3 fingers wrapped around, for that, we usually just take those 3 fingers away and put them behind the handle there, which gives you more flexibility with the wrist. Hard to see there. More flexibility with the wrist. But what he's saying is that he doesn't feel stable just holding the bat with just the pointer finger and thumb. So what you can do is you can just put that middle finger on there for a little bit more stability. And I find that is really useful because you can also just use that to push the bat through a little bit faster as you're coming through. So you can just utilize that, or even just put those 3 fingers on the handle there like that. That still allows you the movement of the wrist, okay, but it might give you just a little bit more stability. So we want to get away from using that full grip because that restricts the movement of the wrist. But once you loosen that, anything's possible there. Just maybe give that a try. Just put that middle finger on there just for a little bit more stability when you're doing that that serve.
Yeah, okay. Good luck with that, Andre. I pretty much do what Alois says. I think I use that middle finger to add just a little bit of stability. Test it out. Try a few different grips. As long as you're getting some good wrist movement, you should be fine. Hopefully that helps you out, Andre. All right, Alois. Eduardo has a question. He says, I've found it difficult to play against blockers and players that play very close to the table because that requires a lot from my footwork and I get very tired. I wanted to change my style to a 2-wing looper. If you could help me, how would you do it?
Yeah, so Eduardo, earlier in the question that we had to edit out, but he talks about he uses his forehand basically all the time. So that's why he gets so tired when he gets around and uses and plays forehands. So he wants to try and utilize his backhand a bit more. So a couple of things. Probably the most important thing when you're trying to switch that game style is just your approach to it, or your mental ability with it. So if you're always thinking that you've got to get around and use your forehand, then you'll start to do a lot of things. You'll start to turn yourself quite side on, and you won't allow yourself to play backhands properly. So the first important thing is to just allow yourself to start to think more about playing on both sides. So entertain the fact that the ball can come to your backhand side and you can play your backhand there. So what that will tend to do quite naturally is it'll start to square you up a little bit. So a lot of forehand players tend to stand quite side on to the table so that they can get around and use their forehand and move this way and that way. But if you square yourself up, then you can start to think about playing more backhands when the ball comes to this side of the table and forehands when it comes to there. So squaring your feet up is a really big key to starting to think and play like a two-winged looper rather than a forehand-dominated player. So yeah, so give those two things a real go. Firstly, just change your thought pattern, and secondly, just square yourself up a little bit.
Great. All right. Yeah, good luck, Eduardo. I think, as Alois said, once you get your mind right, you'll definitely start to improve. Just for everybody that who's wanting to improve their backhand, I'll put a link to the backhand topspin stroke in the show notes so everyone can take a look at that. And that also talks about, standing fairly square on, as Alois mentioned. Thank you for the question, Eduardo. Now, Umar, Alois, says, my topspin usually goes directly into the net, although I do follow through correctly. Can you tell me any reasons for this? And how can I overcome this defect? It's destroying my game, and I give about 5 to 6 opponents to the opponent due to this. Help!
Yeah. So, Umar, it's all right. We're here to help. So probably two things to think about. First is your racket. Make sure that there is some grip on the surface of your racket, so your rubber has a bit of grip on it. If your rubber doesn't have a grip and it's really slippery, then even if you're playing the correct stroke, the ball is going to just slip off your bat and go into the net. So that's number one. Number two is, if you're finding that the ball is, so you've got good grip, and if you're finding the ball is always going into the net, just change the angle of your racket slightly. So if the ball's going into the net, maybe you've got your bat slightly too closed. Just open it a little bit. You don't need to do that, but if you even just change the angle from there to there, that's going to make a huge difference with getting the ball over the net. So just experiment a little bit with the angle of your racket as well.
Yeah, and with this stroke, Alois, I guess if you are getting a good brushing contact and generating topspin, you should be able to have quite a margin of error over the net. So you should be able to aim quite high. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, once you're getting the stroke right, once you're getting the topspin on the ball, then yeah. So you're not going that far over the net. You're probably going, that high over the net with most of your strokes.
Okay. All right. Well, good luck with that, Umar. Hopefully those two things help you out. Check your bat and then just experiment with the angle of your bat for your stroke. And and take a look at the forehand topspin video again and just, make sure that everything is looking good and get a good picture of the stroke in your mind.
Yeah.
Good luck. Yep.
Yeah. Yes, Jeff, I'll probably just to reiterate and to really reinforce as well. So when you're changing the angle, it's really important to still make sure you're finishing in that correct position. So sometimes when I talk to players about changing the angle, then they start to do this as well. So just change the angle a little bit, but make sure you're still finishing in the correct position. Yep.
Good. And then with that angle, when you change it, you keep that angle for the entire stroke?
Yes, that's right. So you don't need to be changing the angle, during your stroke. Just change it slightly and then play the exact same stroke.
Excellent. All right. Hopefully that helps you out, Umar. Give it a try and let us know the results. All right. We've got some questions from people live on the show who've jumped on using the Google Q&A app, and anybody can do that. So you go to plus.google.com/PingSkills and click on the Q&A button. First up, Michelle has said, when counter looping, what technique is better? Counter loop with straight topspin or try to angle the bat to add a little side spin, and which is easier to perform?
Right, Michelle, definitely straight topspin. So the counter loop is already a difficult stroke because the ball's traveling quite fast. There's topspin on the ball and you're trying to topspin it back. If you try to put a bit of side spin on it, the ball doesn't have as much dip. So we want lots of dip on the ball so that the ball drops onto the table. Once you add some side spin, the ball doesn't dip as much. So it's doing that rather than that. So really important when you're counter looping to just make sure you're doing with a nice straight topspin. After you get that right and you're really confident with it, then you can start to experiment with a little side spin on the counter loop as well. But initially, definitely just go with the straight topspin on the counter loop. It's much easier, and you'll get a much better trajectory on the ball to start off with.
Great. All right. Thanks for the question, Michelle. And for anybody who's interested in learning the counter loop, I'll put a link to our topspin against topspin, another name for counter loop, video in the show notes. All right. Now, Victor Alois is, I think, is a big Waldner fan from the look of things. And he says, when is the next table tennis tour? And do you think Waldner will sign up for it?
Yeah, so I think he's talking about the Legends Tour, and they usually have it just once a year. So we've got to wait another year for it to see.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully he will. I think he will. I think he's a really big draw card, and I'm sure the organisers will be chasing him down to enter the Legends Tour again.
Yeah, I think they'll try and get him on, Alois. I'm looking on the ITTF Legends Tour website, and it says next event, and it says will be announced as soon as possible. So they don't know yet, but I think he will probably go again. All right. Now, we just got someone else. Alfredo has just jumped on Alois and asked, what is your go-to serve for a penhold opponent?
Yeah, interesting. I think my go-to serve is the short backspin to their forehand side, and then as the change up, the fast long serve into the backhand. So I think the short ball to their forehand side is probably the backspin serve there is probably a little bit harder for them, and then obviously the deep one into the backhand, especially if they haven't got the reverse penhold stroke. If they're doing that, then that's probably a difficult serve for them. So just varying between the short to the forehand and deep and fast to the backhand.
All right, great advice, and thank you for the question, Alfredo. And Brock's just commented he would love to see Waldner in the Pro Tours again, but he needs to practice. I don't think we're going to see a Waldner in the Pro Tours again, Alois. Do you?
No, I don't think so. I think he's probably past that now. He's I mean, who knows? He might play in one or two, but I think the Legends Tour is probably where he needs to be.
Indeed. All right. Well, thanks everybody for watching. Thanks for your questions. Don't forget to answer the PingSkills question of the day, and don't forget to go to episode 96 to enter our competition for your chance to win a year's membership. So thank you, Alois.
Thanks, Jeff. And if you are already a yearly member, we'll extend your membership by a year as well. So,
Yes, if you win the competition. Good luck, everybody. We look forward to hearing your suggestions on how to improve the show. Thanks, everyone, and catch you tomorrow. Bye.